Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Tirupataya Potharaju. I am Assistant Professor, Department of Physics, St. John's College, Agra. So I am going to give a lecture on the modeling study of Viguard-Kaplan band emission under geometry storm conditions. So this is one of the research work that I am doing. So these are the outlines of my lecture. First, I would like to give a brief introduction about Viguard-Kaplan band emission in the atmosphere, and then I will discuss about how can we model that emission in the atmosphere, what are different inputs that will go into the model, and what will be the output values will come out of the model, and then I will present some of the results, then I will conclude my lecture. So Viguard-Kaplan band emission by the scientist name those who discovered this emission in the atmosphere. So it is called as Viguard-Kaplan, the scientist names. In short, it is called as VK band. So this emission occurs in the atmosphere between 100 kilometer to 300 kilometers. So due to the transition from the molecular nitrogen excited state to the ground state. So on the right hand side you see this figure shows the energy level diagram of N2 which contains different spectroscopic transitions. The first energy level is A3 sigma U plus. This is the first excited state we can say. So when the molecular nitrogen make a transition from N to A3 sigma to the ground state, so the energy is emitted out in the form of emission. So this energy, this emission is we say here in the equation that N2A3 is coming down to ground state, that is N2X1, and by plus h nu. H nu is the energy that is released in this transition. So which is having a wide range of wavelengths, 137 to 1155 nanometers. So that's why it is called as a band. So band which is consisting of so many lines that we will see in coming slides. So this is the reason, this is the this reaction is responsible for the production of this emission in the atmosphere. Now if we want to model this emission in the atmosphere, so two things we need to understand. So we need to know the production mechanisms of this N2A3 in the atmosphere, and we need to know the loss mechanisms of N2A3 in the atmosphere. So the N2A3 state is mainly produced in the atmosphere by the photoelectron impact excitation of molecular nitrogen. So that is N2 plus EPH is the photoelectron. Then this ground state N2 is excited to the N2A3 state, and the production rate of N2A3 due to this source can be calculated using this following expression, that is P N2A of Z, where Z is the altitude, is equal to the density of molecular nitrogen, and integral ETH to infinity phi sigma dE. So where phi is the photoelectron flux and sigma is the photoelectron impact to oscillations. So these are various parameters that will go into the model, and we will calculate the production rate of this N2A3. And once this N2A3 is produced in the atmosphere is consisting of so many neutral species like atomic oxygen and molecular oxygen, and of course N2 is already there, and so on. So these excited N2 molecules will interact with these neutral species in the atmosphere, and they will transfer the energy and come down to the ground state. So these are the three loss mechanisms of the N2A3. The first one is the collisional de-excitation with atomic oxygen, and the second one is the collisional de-excitation with the molecular oxygen, and third one is radiative decay. So after its lifetime, it will come down to the ground state by emitting the VK band. So here K1, K2 are the reactionary coefficients, and AVK is Einstein's transition coefficient for this transition. So we have calculated the loss rate due to these three loss mechanisms, using this expression. So ln2a of Z is equal loss due to first mechanism plus loss due to second mechanism plus loss due to third mechanism. So then once we calculated the loss rate and the production rate of N2A3, so now how can we calculate the density of N2A3? So we have calculated the density of N2A3 under the photochemical equilibrium conditions. What is photochemical equilibrium conditions? Photochemical equilibrium is the state where the production is equal to loss. So the production of N2A3 is equal to the loss rate of N2A3. So we equate them and we will simplify and get this equation to calculate the density of N2A3. So then after we get this density of N2A3 in the atmosphere, and then the total volume emission rate of VK Van de Graaff emission at a particular altitude Z is calculated using this expression. VT of Z is equal to AVK times N2A3 N2A of Z. So AVK is the Einstein coefficient. So as I said in the previous slide, this VK emission is not a line, it is a band which consisting of so many vibrational transition lines. So to calculate the emission rate of a particular transition, so we have used this expression, so where the volume emission rate of a particular transition which is from V prime to V double prime is equal to total volume emission rate into A of that V prime V double prime into the Frank-Condon coefficient of that particular transition upon the total Einstein coefficient. So this is how we have calculated volume emission rate of a particular line. So this table gives various input parameters that will go into the model. So let's say neutral densities and temperatures we have taken from NRLMS ISE 00 model, which is an online based data model, so which is well validated by the various observations. And ion densities and temperatures we have taken from IRI model, which is also again online based model, and which is also validated using so many measurements. And phi of this phi photoelectron flux we have calculated inside the model, our model, using the equations of Richard and Tor. And sigma, this photoelectron impact excitation cross section, so are taken from this Trajmar ETL, and the rate coefficients are taken from Piper, and Frank-Condon coefficients and Einstein transition coefficients are taken from this Gilmore ETL, and solar fluxes that we have used in the model are taken from Solar Irradiance Platform version 2.37. So we have calculated the volume emission rate of all the emission lines of this VK band, and for sample we have shown here four transition lines which are due to the transition from 1 to say v of 1 comma 12, v of 1 comma 13, v of 2 comma 12, and v of uh, v of 2 comma 13. So these are the four vibrational lines that we show as example, and then we finally will show you the entire spectrum. So as I discussed at the first slide, we have studied the geomagnetic effect on this VK band emission. So for this purpose, we have chosen two storms, geomagnetic storms. The storm one was occurred on 30 September to 3rd October 2012, and the second storm was occurred on 13th to 16th November 2012. So the geomagnetic storm's intensity is measured by the DST index, uh, uh, which is measured in the nanotesla. So in the first storm, you see this DST index during this period. So it is going down to minus 120. So when the DST index is going down to minus more and more, that means the storm is very severe. So here compared to storm 2, in storm 1 the DST index is minus 120, that means the storm is very severe, and storm 2 the DST index is at the that dip, that is a main phase. We can say the dip is the main phase of the storm, and then after the dip, as it is going up towards the positive values, it is a recovery phase of the storm. So when this storm is taking place, so the geomagnetic storm impacts the atmosphere and the atmosphere species, and consequently the phenomena of the atmosphere also affected, and we can study that. So for this purpose, so for this purpose, we have studied the storm 1 effect on the emission. So these are the model results. For the storm 1 is was taken place during 30 September to 3rd October. There are 4 days: 30 September, 1st, 2nd, 3rd October. So we have run the model for all these 4 days at a particular time where the storm has taken place. As the main phase of the storm, that is on 1st October, you see the dip. There is a square solid the symbol, the dip, and which is indicates at 5 UT on the 1st of October. That is the main phase of the storm where the storm is happened. So you see the left hand side figures. So these are four profiles or four panels which consisting of a volume emission rate profile in the atmosphere. So between 100 to 300 kilometers, and these are the volume emission rate of these are the volume emission rate of VK band, and as I said, there are four emission lines that we have studied here, and we have shown, like for example. So the first panel shows the volume emission rate profiles for these four lines on 30 September, and the second panel shows the 1st October, and third panel shows the 2nd October, and fourth panel shows the 3rd October. So as you see in first panel, so the storm has not been taking place, and so the if you see the intensity of this line is the maximum intensity is about 60 photons per centimeter cube per second, and the second panel, that is on 1st October, so the storm is in the main phase. So that's why the storm affected the atmosphere, and consequently So you can see the effect of the storm on the VK band, VK emission. So here the emission is decreasing due to the geometry storm. And again on third panel, that is 2nd October, so we can notice that the emission rate is slowly increasing, and the third panel, and it is increased beyond 60. That means the storm is almost disappear. So then the atmosphere comes to the normal. So from this slide, what we can understand is there is a significant variation or the significant impact of the geometric storm on the this VK band emission. So this is another storm which I'm not going to explain again. So the same kind of impact the effects are seen during the main phase of the storm. So the emission decreased, and in the recovery phase, you can see in the third panel, that is 16th November, the emission is increased up to 80 photon per second scale, photons per meter cube per centimeter cube per second. So then we have studied the variation of volume emission rate under the varying N2 density. This is storm 1, as there are 4 dates of storm 1 that we have shown in the previous slide. So what we have done here is F is a factor that we have multiplied in the density of N2. When F is equal to 1 means the density is equal to density. That means there is no increase in the density, and we have multiplied, we increase the N2 density by 20%, 40%, 60%, 80% and 100%. And then we have studied the effect of the increased N2 density on the VK band emission. So as we see in these results, as the density is increasing from F is equal to 1 to F is equal to 2, the emission rate is gradually proportionally increasing. So that can be noticed in the 1st October as well, and similarly here also we can notice in 2nd October results, 3rd October results, and also for storm 2, 13th of November, 14th November, and 15th November, and 16th November. So this is the variation of peak emission rate. What is peak emission rate? Peak emission rate, if you see here any profile, so the emission rate is going increasing slowly, increasing. Let's say in the first panel it is about 60. So then after that the emission rate is decreased. This maximum value of the emission is called as peak emission rate. So we have shown here the variation of peak volume emission rate under varying N2 density. So from these two figures, it is very much clear and evident that you see in each panel we have shown 4 lines, and with 4 different colors. The blue color indicates here in the storm 1, the blue color indicates the main phase of the storm, and then the green color and the pink color indicates the recovery phase of the storm, and the red one indicates the before storm occurred. So as we see in all these panels that the blue dots or blue line is having is a lesser value compared to other lines, so which is during the main phase of the storm. That means due to the effect of storm, the emission rate is decreased, and after the storm, that means in the recovery phase, then the emission rate starts increasing. That is the green dots. And as I said in the previous slide, so we have for sample purpose we have shown 4 lines profiles, and likewise we have run the model for 484 lines, and we have calculated the volume emission rate of 484 lines, and then we have integrated these volume emission rate profiles between 100 and 300 kilometers, and then we got the intensity of each line in this VK band. So this figure shows the calculated spectrum of VK band ranging from 137 nanometer to 1155 nanometers. So what we can notice here is the intensity of a particular line, it goes up to 160 Rayleigh. So and then for other lines it is decreasing and so on. But in the visible range, so the intensity is almost insignificant. So this is we can say the synthetic spectrum and the calculated spectrum, and it's a first kind we have done this. So to calculate the entire spectrum of the VK band Degulla emission. So to conclude, so we have developed the comprehensive model to study the N2 VK band regulation, and we have shown four lines profiles. That is, among these four lines, we can see that 3769 angstroms is strongest among them, and as we have seen, we have studied the geomagnetic storm effect on on this emission. So during the main phase of the both the storms that we have selected, so the volume emission rate is decreasing, starts decreasing, and as the storm is slowly disappearing, and it is when we move towards the recovery phase of the storm, then the volume emission rate is increasing. And then we also studied using the model the effect of variation of the N2 density on the VK band emission. So as the N2 density is increased, so the emission rate also increased proportionally. That means there is a positive correlation between the volume emission rate of the VK band emission and the molecular nitrogen density. So thank you very much.